All right, it looks like we are live.
Yay!
Yay! I am so lucky. I get to talk to many great educators around the world every day. This one particular has such a kind heart and a gift for supporting children and educators. I mean, I think once you're you're an educator for life. But Amy is just so amazing, and her passion shows through everything she does. So I want to I want to introduce my guest, Amy, and tell us a little bit about you.
Okay,
Mhm.
my name's Amy, Blankenship, and that's a little crazy story right there. But I am currently a coach in my building for professional development, and I support the teachers in my building. My main title is a gifted and talented supporter. I'm the intervention specialist for that in my building. But the laws in Ohio changed, and so it required that teachers have the ability to work in the classroom with children and at the gifted, giving forth their gifted teaching ideas with kids and supporting them in that way. So now I teach them how to support gifted kids in the classroom instead of pulling kids out.
That's fun.
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of been a challenge because I'm not a big label person. So I want to present professional development that supports all kids and all teachers.
Right. So, okay, you also have some really fascinating background in STEM. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So I worked previously. The district I'm in now is like the sixth largest in Ohio. We have 22,000 students. But the district previous to that, which was much smaller, and we only had like 5 elementaries. And in that district, charter schools have become such a big thing for parents, which is understandable because when things aren't working for your child in the traditional setting, you are going to look for whatever you can so that you can get your child the support that they need. We know, I'm a big public school believer. I always went to public school. But at the same time, I understand those needs. So our district came up with an idea to have some schools of choice, which are large. Columbus Public, they have a lot of schools of choice for lottery. So what we did was we came up with a school of choice for elementary, and it was STEM. So this was a K-4 building, and people who wanted to go to the building applied to go to the building. And it was a huge undertaking because we started the culture of the building, the whole mindset. And I saw amazing things. I saw the kids that were gifted, because I had gifted kids in my classroom, soar, but I also saw those struggling kids soar because all of a sudden, in elementary, the only measuring stick they get is that academic. It's not like in high school where you have all of these additional directions that you can take with theater or music. So it's really, I think it brings a lot of kids down. So having this opportunity in STEM where their ideas, their ability to speak, they do have kids that struggle in school have tons more coping skills than those kids that are super high, at least at that point in their, being little like that. So
Mm,
it was pretty
wow.
cool.
No, that is cool. And so with coaching, I think e-learning has been a challenge for all of us, to be honest. I want to ask kind of how your teachers are doing with e-learning and what are you doing as a coach to support them?
Yes. It has been a crazy ride for everybody. But it's just like anything else. As a teacher, you get your kids at the beginning of the school year, and they are all over the place academically and what they know and their experiences. It's the same thing with teachers and e-learning. And, a lot of the things that I'm doing are somewhat new to myself as well. So how can I support them, get them some really fast training without overwhelming and shutting down, because we have kids that are struggling to do the e-learning, especially elementary. And then we have parents who are they know less than their kids do. So what I've been doing is I attend every single team meeting for the grade levels. And I also work with teachers individually. I also offer to give them teaching support as well. So I may pull a reading group or do book club with somebody.
Mm,
My school also fifth graders came to me at the beginning of this year and said, we want to do a newspaper. And I said,
Oh,
okay.
that's
But we're limited with copies. Everybody's always trying to save money and that. So we did a virtual one, and it was fabulous. And we were going to do one more edition. Then we got sent home. We haven't gone back. Well, some of the kids who want more and more and more work to do, and they aren't gifted, it's everybody in that fifth grade, came to me and said, hey, can we keep doing this? So I'm facilitating open times where they can work together as well. So
that's fun. That is real fun. So it sounds like you're doing a newspaper and you're collaborating with these. I mean, this seems like they're volunteering and opting in to do this.
In to do it. And then on top of that, I do things at the district level too. So our district is so large, we have professional development at the district level, and I've worked on developing some courses that teachers can take. And then in the areas of some of the conference things that kids can be part of, like we have a writing contest, Invention Convention is like a national thing. All that happened, and they all made their stuff, and then we went home. So students are actually making Flipgrid videos. They're in third grade making a Flipgrid video explaining their invention so that we can judge them at the district level and they can move on to state. So it's been all kinds of stuff, but I'm loving it.
That's good. That sounds fun. So I wonder that it sounds fun on one end, but then it sounds challenging because you're not only a support system for your teachers, but you're a support system for the district, and your principal needs you. It seems like it can get overwhelming sometimes.
I think it can get overwhelming sometimes, and I think as a younger person, I was that person who was afraid of change.
Yeah.
But I've taught like 5 different grade levels. I've been, I'm this coach. I kind of forced myself to get out there so that I could feel better about change. Because if you're in education or any job for that matter, there's no more like that cookie cutter. You're shifting gears every 5 minutes, and you got to deal with it. And you got to figure out how to do it you might not fall gracefully to get that 10 in the Olympic gymnast category, but at least you're on one foot.
Yeah. Yes, I totally agree. So I guess, is there any new opportunities? Because this has been a challenge for teachers, and we know you have to feel confident about what you're teaching in the technology, but is there anything that they have brought to you that have been new or unique things that they're doing in the classroom, or something that you could share with us?
Sure. Well, I think for our district, the challenge was, and I feel kind of badly, districts in our area have different approaches to how they did the online learning, or maybe they just sent packets home. Some of them have to do that because everybody doesn't have access. My district was gracious enough to have parents sign up, and we delivered Chromebooks to them. So everybody who needed one, I think we passed out like 1,000 of them. Yeah. Because you have kids that go home and do their homework on their mom's phone. We have parents who don't have automobile, so they're not going to have this technology. So that has been really, really huge for us. And I think that has allowed us to do more. Now, I will say that the teachers are very good at engaging the kids, because we're adults here and we're talking live and we can have a conversation, but if you're 8, this is too long for you. So things that we've been doing are where you can share the screen, you can do Jeopardy games, you can do polls on our learning platform is, what is it? I was going to say it's learning, but it's not that. It's Schoology. I've done Blackboard as well before, but it's Schoology that we use. So there's polls, there's all kinds of things. And we also use Google Classroom. So those things can kind of come together. So polls, doing the Kahoot games, we can play in teams, and we also do Quizlet. Those kind of things are things that we did in the classroom, but we're incorporating more of that into it, and having kids turn in final products that are different. So rather than saying, okay, here's this, the 5-paragraph essay, let's find something not only that is connected to what you're doing right now and who you are as a child right now, but let's change the final product. It's not always going to be that exact. So that's kind of some of the things that we're doing.
Yeah, no, that's fun. I mean, like, connection is key. I think some of the frustration from the teachers that I've had feedback from, they're saying, well, how do you get your kids to log on? Because in our state, what they did is say, yeah, we're doing e-learning, but it doesn't count. So when I think older students hear that, oh, this is not going to count. So now they're like, well, why should I log on? And I think for our teachers, they're struggling. Now we have to re-engage the students.
Mm-hmm.
And then what does that look like? And you're right, Kahoot, those are great programs to get students engaged. And to, I guess, start learning again. What do you foresee for the fall? What are your ideas, or what do you see, or what is your district saying?
My district doesn't say anything. My district says is, we know what you know, the state tells us, and then they change something 3 days later, which is true. We know that. It doesn't matter what state you're in, but that's happening because everybody can't think of all of the variables at one time.
Yeah.
Something comes up. There's a lot of stress around that. Of course, nobody wants to do this in the fall.
Yeah.
But we know that there's a possibility that we may have some sort of staggered start. We may have kids that actually come to the classroom, just a couple times a week and do the rest of their work at home. We'll have a whole new group of kids. I mean, at least the advantage we had this year was it was later in the year, so we knew our students in the classroom.
Yeah.
So that made a big difference. We have a lot of group meetings with kids just to kind of teach them where to go to look at when should I log on. Have morning meetings. Again, share things personally. When I facilitate the newspaper, I don't do the newspaper. I am facilitating it for them. So I am just the vessel that says, okay, here's the live area, the live room. You're in Microsoft Teams. Have at it. You talk about your stuff. We have folders online already that they had been doing their work on all year anyway. So it's about, how do I bring people together to talk? That's how you set those.
No, that's so great. Okay, so I have one question.
Okay.
So the one question Tammy asked, how do you get your teachers on board when they all don't want to let you in the class? Because Tammy's a coach, and so she's working with her teachers, but some teachers don't want to let her in their class. So how do you deal with those teachers?
That's a really great question, and that happens to me too. And especially because I was new in my district. In my old district, it was a smaller district. I was on all kinds of committees. I was secretary of the union. Everybody knew me. It didn't matter whether it was high school or kindergarten. So I had already built relationships. So when I came to the new district, I really had to build those relationships and get to know people, not necessarily on that work level. They had to trust me and know that I'm not in there to spy on them.
Yeah.
Because I'm not. And I'm also not. I know that everybody has a journey and everybody needs to move forward in that journey, but everybody's at a different place. And I know that my personal philosophy of how I educate in the classroom isn't always the same as the person that's in the classroom next to me.
Yeah.
But I still respect it because their kids are learning too. Their kids are growing too. And real life says that when you get out of the, very educational situation that's in a box, it's going to look like somebody next to me is different than I am.
Yeah.
That's okay. So I think building the relationships, and that's a huge focus in my district right now, not just between staff, but also with children, with students. I think that's had a huge impact on the success of our distance learning, is because we've worked really hard to make those connections with kids.
Okay. Yeah. So Cameron has one more question, and I think we'll So Cameron from Florida says, what is your principal's expectations of you at this time?
That is so tricky too, because I'm a person that feels like I want to be accountable all the time, and I don't always know what everybody else is doing, and I'm not necessarily caring about what everybody else is doing. But I make sure that I am doing the district level stuff that's expected of me. I ask questions. I don't have a problem saying, what am I supposed to be doing? Or do you need me? I mean, we're getting ready to go back kind of like staggered just to shut down the building. And I just keep saying, what do you need me to do? What do you need me to do? I mean, they know that I'm working with teachers. They know that I'm working with kids. I'm very visible. And I think that being at home yeah, you have to reach out so that people know that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
No, I totally agree. And I think what I do is sometimes I try to send monthly updates to my principal with
Mm-hmm.
data saying, hey, these are the amount of people in school. This is the teachers I'm working with. Here's their focus. Just
Mm-hmm.
kind of let them know that I am on top of things,
Right.
because I don't want them to think that I'm just sitting here doing nothing.
Right. And I think that is easy to do when you're at school and you are visible. But I think this time right now where they're like, go home, you're like, okay, well, how am I supposed to show you that I'm being accountable?
Yeah. So that's it. Are there any last minute questions, thoughts, ideas?
Anybody? Does anybody have any questions? I don't have any questions.
No.
I do, but they're not questions that you can answer because they are about the learning for next year and trying to keep masks on 6-year-olds. And
Oh my
how
gosh.
do I help my teachers?
Yes, I think that is going to be a challenge, a change, and I don't know what that looks like. And like I said, we are already in overcrowded classrooms.
We
So
are too. We're so crowded, and my ELL population is huge. I'm in a title building, and then we have a huge ELL population. My district is very desirable to be in. So the further north you go, the less diversity you have. But where I am, we have a lot of apartment living and a lot of families who really want to have their kids in the district. So they benefit from the services. We have a huge gifted population and a huge IEP population. So trying to meet those needs, and I understand it. I'm not complaining about it, but trying to meet the needs and support of those families, especially when they're at home. Some people have 7 kids at home that they're watching their neighbors' kids. And
I know, Amy. So I guess with that final note, Amy, you are amazing, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me.
I've been so happy to get to know you, and everything you post, I shake my head yes.
Oh, okay. So we're doing something right here. So, have a wonderful day.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.